These are all facts. I would have given them, just so you could ask me to give you a testimonial on the back of your book. But you went up the flow chart, to be very honest with you. The people that you got here on the back, Magic, Coach K, Adam Silver. I get it, Grant. I totally get it,
Hey, Rich, I'll tell you, my next book, More Game, I'll get a blurb from you.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Because can you get it from a Michigan guy, Grant? Is that possible? Is that a possibility?
I mean, we can all coexist. I think so.
Okay. Well, because you don't have a problem with Michigan as much as Michigan has a problem with Duke, right, Grant?
No. Look, Michigan, and I talk about it in the book. Michigan's one of the 5 schools that were on my list. I was a big Sean Higgins fan, and actually made a visit to University of Michigan the weekend after they won the Final Four. So
you met with Steve Fisher? Is that who was on? Or in your initial? I guess your initial contact might have been with Bill Frieder, pretty much back in that day.
It wasn't. There was another gentleman who was recruiting me, but they won.
Was it the guy with? Was it the guy with the cake box, Grant?
No. There you
okay.
go.
All right.
But I went up there the weekend after, and I was a junior in high school.
Yes.
And when I made my visit to Duke later that year, I guess right at the beginning of my senior year, the following weekend I was supposed to go up to Michigan, and that was the weekend that Michigan played Notre Dame, and Rocket Ismail had a coming out party, and so. My dad, wanted me to wait one more week before I made a decision so he could go and be on the sidelines with Bo at the Michigan game. And I think I broke his heart by saying, no, I'm ready to commit to Duke right now.
Oh, man. So who was on the 50-yard line in the press box covering that game is his first day on the Michigan football beat for the school newspaper, the Michigan Daily. That would be me on that day, Grant.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sir. We're both old is basically what I'm saying, Grant.
That is true. That is true.
But you are aging much more gracefully than I am. Congrats on this book. Why do it, Grant? What led you to putting it all between 2 covers for you?
Great question, Rich.
Thank you.
For me, it started really with the Hall of Fame enshrinement back in 2018. The lead up to that moment, you're naturally going to be reflective, and you're going to look back, look in the rearview mirror, and sort of just take in the totality of your career. And so, I think that ultimately led to, kind of right before COVID, this idea, okay, let's go forward with this and let's do it. And so that's what sort of lit the spark, if you will. And, it was a really interesting, really exciting exercise of going through and kind of going back, looking at your life, looking at it from a different lens, trying to live in certain moments and recall certain things certainly was quite the process.
Okay, Grant Hill, Basketball Hall of Famer, his book Game and Autobiography here on the Rich Eisen Show. So was getting a piece of an NBA team always the goal when you were going through your playing career? Because we're already hearing LeBron talk about maybe getting a team in Vegas once it's all said and done, and he certainly is building the capital for such a thing right now, to say the least. Was that always a goal for you while you were playing, Grant?
Yeah, my dad tried unsuccessfully back in the mid-'80s. He was with the group to try to buy the Patriots, went through it with the Washington Bullets, then now the Wizards. And then in the late '90s, when the Browns moved to Baltimore and became the Baltimore Ravens, the NFL awarded a franchise, and so he had a group that he was a part of that tried to win that, and of course they lost out. So I say all that to say that the idea of ownership, was at least the idea was planted, the seed was planted when I was in college, and just the possibility. And so when I got to Detroit, I signed a big contract, and I looked at Mr. Davidson, who was a great man, was the owner of the Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, this man pays me this contract, and so he and I became friends and really just learned a lot from him, picked his brain, tried to understand why he was successful and had a really good friendship with him. But, even then I was thinking, okay, one day I'd like to own a team. And, thankfully the opportunity presented itself 2 years after I retired. I retired in 2013, and then, the Hawks came up for sale. And I talk about in the book sort of the process and engaging with Tony Ressler and what that was like. And even going back to the Clippers, I was a part of, Tony and I, along with another gentleman, tried unsuccessfully to buy the Clippers in 2014. So, get a little bit into that and what that process was like and how crazy and wild and exciting it all was.
It's time for story time. And I'm just seeing some of the names here. One of them is Staubach, Roger. Your dad, Calvin, played for the Cowboys. And it is true, Staubach was the one who suggested to your dad to name you Grant, right? If I'm not mistaken. He has taken credit for that. That is a true story, right?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
All right.
I was baby boy Hill for 3 days. Clearly, my parents were expecting a girl. And needless to say, I was not a girl. So, my dad, I think he just the excitement of everything. And, my dad it takes a minute to make a decision. And so, but Staubach suggested Grant, which is my paternal grandmother's maiden name. And it sounds better than Baby Boy Hill. Although in this day and age, I might have been able to market Baby Boy Hill.
Yes. You could have had a different career, no question about that. So, what's your first football memory, Grant? What do you got?
I remember. My dad left the Cowboys and went to the World Football League back in the 70s, and so I was probably around 3. Of course, the league folded because it was paying players too much. But I remember being in the arena, or excuse me, in the stadium and watching the games and watching really everything but the game. I might have been 2 or 3 years old. But when I really started to kind of take it all in was when he went to the Redskins after leaving Hawaii, and 4 or 5 years of age. That was when going to the practice facility and Joe Theismann and Charlie Taylor and guys like that, and so I was kind of growing up in the locker room, was always around those guys, and go in the locker room after games and just taking in the spectacle of the NFL back at that time. And so I don't remember the Dallas years, but certainly a little bit of Hawaii and a lot in Washington, and then of course Cleveland, where he finished his career off.
Love it.